What's up, guys? So today I just want to go over a couple of settings that's been much requested by a lot of people. They're just settings that people wanted for to have better FPS in game. As you can see, I'm hitting 165 right now. Of course, that's in the lobby, but I can assure you, if you watch any of my videos, I'm always hitting 165 to 240 FPS on most of my games consistently. So the way for that is first things first. I know this is pretty obvious, but we're gonna go over it anyway. My settings. If you want FPS, like right now, I used to play like this. This used to be my settings right here. View distance, epic, everything else off or low. But recently, I've gone to textures and effects at high, just because my game still caps out 165 with this on or off. So if you're going purely for FPS and you're just not hitting the FPS mark yet, you want to keep these on low. And for sure you want to have these two off. There's no reason to keep these two on. They're just not going to help you at all. And then you want to have VSync off, motion blur off, show FPS on so you can see your FPS like I do up here. And then allow multi-threaded rendering. This is a little bit confusing for some people, so I would start with this on and see how your FPS goes. Maybe play with a day for it on, then turn it off and see how it works. Whichever is better for you is the one you want to use. This is basically for it's for PCs that have multiple cores, and like which have, if it has more threads, then it's gonna be normally better, and it'll run better on this thing. So that's the setting I would use here. And just because some people wanted to see this anyway, I'll just go over my colorblind settings. This is at 5. I don't know why it's at 4, but I play at 5. Visual effects off. Don't ignore this. I don't play on controller. So that's that. These are some of my keybinds. Go through them real quick. I don't want to spend too much time because this video is more on FPS, but so my settings, I do use mouse wheel up to reset my builds and stuff, but everything else is kind of useless here. Creative, okay, yeah. So another setting that's gonna get you good FPS. Okay, this has been tested, especially if you're on console. This works on console too. Record replays off. Both of these should be off. The only reason I keep them on is because I make montages, and for that I need to have creative replays. Otherwise I can't record cinematics. So that's why I need this on. But I personally would keep this off if you want high FPS. Okay, so that's all the settings for Fortnite itself. Now I'm gonna show you guys some settings for the actual NVIDIA sheer graphics card. So now that we have the settings for Fortnite itself, these are the main settings now. These are the ones you actually have to focus on. Those are pretty obvious. You want the best FPS, just keep everything on low, obviously. But these are the main settings right here. So you want to go into, if this doesn't pop up after clicking this arrow, you want to just right click on your desktop and click NVIDIA control panel. If you have a AMD graphics card, it's gonna say like Radeon settings or something. The idea is basically the same. It won't look the same, but it's around the same. So if you want to first go to adjust image settings with preview, you want to go to use my preference emphasizing, put this all the way to performance, click apply. Okay, now you want to go to manage 3D settings. Okay, so over here you want to just copy down the settings that I'm going to be giving you. Not these ones right now, but I'm going to tell you which settings to use. So this is going to be off for sure. Off. This anti-aliasing FXAA, you can keep as off. Gamma crushing, keep that on. Anti-aliasing mode off. Anti-aliasing setting off. Anti-aliasing transparency, keep that as, just leave it at 4x. For CUDA GPUs, you want to use all, or like if you want to choose a specific one that you want to run your game off of, if you have more than one, then you check that. And then you want to leave DSR factors on, DSR smoothness on, maximum pre-rendered frames, you want to keep that as at 1. Multi-frame sampled AA, you want to keep that as off. Open rendering GPU, this is going to be the same one as you used over here. All, the same one that you used here. So you can just use, if you have one, you just choose that one. And then for power management mode, this is important. You want to keep as maximum performance. And then for refresh rate, you want to keep highest available. That's going to get you the highest FPS that your monitor can offer you. And then shader cache is on. Keep this on. Negative LOD bias, allow that. Texture filtering quality, keep this at high performance. Then you want to go to texture filtering, trilinear optimization, keep that as off. Threaded optimization, want to keep that on. Triple buffering off. Vertical sync, which is the same thing as VSync that you have in your game, you want to keep off. And then virtual reality pre-rendered frames, you want to keep that as 1. Okay, so after that, you want to head on over to change resolution. Okay, so over here you have a couple options. So normally this is going to be your resolution your monitor is at, right? Now if you want to, if your game still isn't running decently after all those settings, you might want to reduce your settings down to maybe like 720p instead of 1080p, so 1280 by 720. And then if that doesn't work out great, you can always change your settings in game, how the slider on top. But otherwise, you just want to keep this at either 1080p, which will look the best, or at 720p, which is right here, 1280 by 720. Now these are just a couple settings that I use just to make my game look a little bit better. So in the adjust desktop color settings, and this does not affect your FPS at all, this is just a color setting. So you want to keep choose how color is set as other application control color settings. Then apply the following enhancements. You keep at hue at 0 degrees, and then digital vibrance at 75%. This is just gonna make your colors pop a little better, and honestly it helps me see enemies and other stuff a little bit better. Okay, so otherwise another one I use is I keep the contrast at 46 and brightness at 57 in the video color settings. And over here in the adjust video image settings, if your game ever seems like really like it doesn't seem smooth around the edges of the characters and stuff, what you can do is use this thing called the edge enhancement. You can put this on, use the NVIDIA settings, and bump this around to whatever seems optimal to make those edges round or cleaner. So normally if you want to make it a little bit better, I'd keep it like 55. And then noise reduction is just going to be all these pixels. Like if your games look really pixelated, you want to keep this on the use NVIDIA setting and keep this around like 25 to 30. So those are the main settings that I personally would use. After all of this, you do want to click apply for sure. The only reason I'm not doing that is because I use different settings from these, just because these settings are made specifically, all these settings are made specifically just for FPS, and that is not my exact preference, since my PC right now can push 165 to 240 FPS without being on these settings. I normally don't use these settings, but these are extremely, I used to use these settings for the past year or so, and these are extremely good settings to get FPS, to get good FPS. Like last year when I had worse specs and stuff, I was with the settings I have right now, which I use with the really high quality and stuff, I used to hit around like 45 FPS, and then once I switched to the performance area, I was hitting like 68, 70 FPS. So it gives you a big boost. And make sure to remember to turn off replays in the settings. And that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope this really helps you. If it did, please tell me in the comments, and like the video and subscribe. Thanks, guys.